Alright, let's meet Becky Reeve.
I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right.
A woman who turned a life-shattering setback into a legendary comeback.
Yes, Queen.
When life told Becky to quite literally sit down, she replied with a watch me kind of attitude.
Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
Picture this. It is 1962. Beatles haven't even hit America yet, and the young Becky Reeve is just a busy, wholesome sophomore missionary. Sophomore in college. On her mission, she gets into a car wreck, and she's thrown from the car and is paralyzed from the neck down. I mean, imagine going from happy-go-lucky, good vibes one day and then waking up in the hospital not being able to move. Doctors, in their infinite wisdom, gave Becky 15 to 20 years to live.
That's so nice. That's a nice, and that's a lie, and it's nice.
Basically, they slapped an expiration date on her like a carton of milk.
To make me sit here and do this, and I just don't think it's nice.
Her try-me sainthood and sass, A+. Victories looked like sitting up for 5 minutes without passing out. And if you think her story peaked there, guess again. These next chapters are like the longest training montage you have ever seen.
Time for your next adventure.
For a jaw-dropping 23 years, Becky trained 3 times a week, just grinding week in and week out. Most of us can't commit to the gym for 23 days in a row. I mean, let alone 23 years. Solid. Sorry, my dog's being crazy. By the end of that, she still hadn't been able to walk yet. In her words, she was basically throwing her feet out in front of her and her arms were doing all the work. A lesser soul might have been happy with that, but not Becky. Not Becky. Hell yeah, brother!
Well, I was having the best day of my life, ripping around Daytona like a bald eagle. Then someone slammed into my rear left quarter, spun me out, lived through that.
Not Becky. She started something called the Sit Tall, Stand Tall program. This was a lifeline for Becky. This is performed under the guidance of Leighton Weber, and I had the privilege of working out with him before he passed away. And this is not like your grandma's physical therapy gym.
He's back!
This is like, there was like chains, and it was dark and musty, and it was in just his garage, and he would just sit there and watch, and there'd be collegiate athletes everywhere. Like, it was Rocky Ford style feeling. Just, it's not what you expect, okay? And Becky did this for, catch this, 30 years. I mean, I'm sure she said some cuss words. I mean, even saints stub their toes, right? And at the end of that, with some leg braces and a helper, she was able to stand and walk with her legs. And I mean, this was a girl who couldn't sit up and now is walking. Olympic medal for defying gravity. She would often work on things like her book or her inspirational speeches, and she got so healthy and happy, she could sit up for 13 hours a day. That's like going from 0 to 60 in a minivan. It's not the fastest, but it's incredibly reliable. and steady. She has an incredible list of milestones that I can't even go fully in depth with because this video would be way too long. But if you think that's all she did, I mean, there was a lot going on simultaneously. During this experience, Becky finally finished her degree 8 years after her accident. And you know, our girl got a standing ovation. And what did she do? She wrote 500 thank you letters to people who had helped her get her diploma. 500. She became the first runner-up in the Miss Handicapped pageant of 1964. She thought, hey, if society was going to label her handicapped, she was going to slap that label on that sash and win the crown because she was a queen.
And you need to know that I love it here.
She worked as a teacher and student teacher. She was teaching a first grade class and they adored her wheelchair, and she used that opportunity as a show and tell, kind of share a kid appropriate version of her experience.
I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what? I don't know anything about it.
The kid's a cool perspective. But I thought that was sick. She wrote multiple books and illustrated multiple books. One of her more popular books is The Spirit Knows No Handicap. Tapping words one letter at a time with either her hand or mouth. Imagine writing books with your face. I mean, that is so sick. I can barely get out of bed. She also became a sought-out motivational speaker all across the country and even internationally. When she spoke, people just listened and laughed and cried. You can do it! She had a way of making everyone in the room feeling like they could conquer their own challenges, and she had a really nice way of just loving people. All across the country and even nationally, Becky made it abundantly clear that her wheelchair was just a tool and not a limitation. Mic drop. Becky's collecting milestones like trading cards. Fast forward to today, Becky is in her 80s and she is battling cancer, and we know she's a fighter. She's lived 60 plus years since her accident, and those doctors that gave her the 50 to 20 year prognosis, she outlived them. One of my favorite things she said was, "I'm just gonna be the best cripple then." One thing she needs is just love and support. She doesn't take a lot of money for those speeches. She rarely took money, or I don't even know if she did take any money. One man insisted on paying her for one of her speeches, and she told the man, write it to the Holy Ghost. So, legend behavior.
But how do I make this about me?
Not posting, probably, or posting a lot. I'm having back surgery, depending on what day I post this. So pray for me or send me good vibes, whatever you're into. I'm into Jesus. It's a little biased, but, you know. Claps Club out.
It's a possum because I too play dead.